Now we go into the last section on the project module. That is, we are presented by the two speakers. One is Sakari Kauvunen from the Turku University Applied Science from Finland, and the second one from Supriya Benu International University Jakarta, Indonesia. The project module is suitable for apply from the grade 10 and 12, 10, 11, and 12. Only for the vocational school and higher education. This project module concept has been developed by Turku University Applied Science of the, belong to the Educational Research Development Innovation Method. Overall, their method are key element in the innovation pedagogies. Now, the first speaker will be Sakari Koivunen. Is MSc is a leader of the education and research in Turku University Applied Science. Koivunen has been specialized in the industry, university, collaboration, and modern pedagogy method. He is teaching in industrial robotics and production automation, and he is conducting the dissertation research on gamification virtually environment in the engineering education. Now, time is yours. Please, Mr. Sakari.
Okay, hello everybody. I hope you can hear and see me well.
So we cannot see your slide.
Okay, let's see. Maybe you can see my face now, and then I will.
Yes.
Screen at the
yeah. Excellent.
Very good. Okay, so I will discuss the project module that we have been running for a couple of years now, and it's for engineering students. Of course, it can be applied for other students as well, but we have been using it for engineering students. But first, about the background of project module. So why we want to integrate project-based learning in the curriculum is that project courses usually give much more in-depth knowledge on the topics when the students are able to work together with companies, so they can actually practice their skills in realistic work environment. So it's not just theoretical learning, but it's more like practical hands-on working in practical problem-solving situations. And also the project-based learning is good when the students are able to learn soft skills, so they will learn teamworking and communication and other skills than just the engineering basics. And what we mean by module is that we have these kind of modules that consist of multiple courses. So typically they consist of 3 courses. So we wrap up 3 or 4 courses together, and we have one consistent theme that binds the courses together. And in one module we have many teachers working together, so we have many courses and many teachers, and that will be one consistent theme. And in our faculty, students, they are picking up 2 modules, so we have these credits, 15 credits per module, and students pick 2 modules per semester. So they are not choosing individual courses, but they are choosing modules. And tomorrow I think you will hear more about this project hatchery. That is our first kind of project learning study in Turku University of Applied Sciences, and it's in the very beginning of the studies. So then students have very limited skill set, so they are low on skills and they are in the beginning of the studies. And when they continue on their studies and they are closer to graduation and they have much more expertise on their field, they will have this project module that is a bigger module than the project hatchery, and it's more demanding because they are closer to graduation. And a couple of key points of the project module. We don't have any lectures, so students can ask for some lecturing or information, but we don't give them traditional lecturing at all. So first they have to recognize the need for information, and then they will come to teachers and ask if we will give them some specific lecture or information, but we will not give traditional lecturing for them. And the students are working in real-world problem cases, so the assignments, they are actual cases and problems from the local companies, so they are not some project that the students get from the teachers, but the students get the assignments from the companies. And we have both teachers and industry contact persons tutoring the students and setting the goals. And of course the students are encouraged to learn from each other, so they are learning social skills and knowledge transfer by that. And the role of the teacher, of course, is a little bit different when we are not giving traditional lectures, but we are more like tutoring them on projects. So many of you already know this zone of proximal development that was introduced by Vygotsky, but I will briefly cover this because this is important. So there are some set of skills and some of problems, simple problems that the students can solve on their own without any help. And then on the other end, there are some very difficult tasks that the students can't do at all. But in the middle, that's where the actual learning happens. So there's some tasks and some problems that the students are able to solve when somebody is helping them. And the main goal of the teacher is to give the students these kind of assignments that are difficult enough but not too difficult. And in the project module, this is the most important part of the teaching process. So the teacher role is that we have a student group of maybe 30 or 40 students, and we have 2 or 3 teachers for that group. And we assign 100 working hours per teacher to guide the students, and we don't have a strong leader role. So the teachers are not leading the groups, but the groups are required to be self-organized. So they need to find a group leader who is taking care of everything, and the teacher is more like tutoring them and guiding them, but not actually leading them. But in case we have some problems, so we haven't had any big problems with the assignments, but sometimes the students are not able to finish everything, or they might face some difficulties, then the teachers will take more active role and step up and talk with the students and take a leader role to solve the problems. But we haven't had any big problems so far. So the biggest role for the teacher is to work as an expert, to give some advice together with the industry experts when it's needed. So if everything goes smoothly, then the teachers don't do anything. But when the students have some problems, then they are able to ask from the teacher or from the industry professionals for some guidance. So the main role is to facilitate and assess the learning. So we try to enable the students to work together as a group and learn from each other, and then we are assessing the learning also, but that's all. And when you are working in this kind of problem-based learning environment and combining different courses together, it's very important to set up the topics and the themes correctly. And usually we do so that the students are allowed to choose their own teams. And the team size has been, in the first case that we tried this 2 years ago, the team size was between 2 and 4 students. Nowadays the teams are a little bit bigger, but the first case was 2, 3 and 4 students per team, and they were able to choose their own teams. And the problem we faced is that the students didn't have any clear enough roles. So all the tasks were assigned to some student by the team, but it was not enforced enough, so the teachers should have paid more attention to the role assigning and enforcing the roles because the students didn't get clear enough responsibilities, and this led to some difficulties. Later we have fixed that. And it might also be a good idea when you are setting the teams to figure out what kind of skills does a team need. So maybe there should be one who is a project manager and somebody who is doing the communication, and some persons are more in the engineering side and so on, and select the team based on the skills. Or you can also do some work style evaluation method, for example DISC or Thomas analysis, and select the teams based on that. But so far we have been quite happy with random selection, not actually random, but letting the students choose the teams on their own. But you can use these random teams, or you can choose them with DISC or Thomas analysis or something else. But we have been quite happy with the student selected teams, so they will select their own teams, and it has been working quite well. And the teams, when they are working on the projects, they are of course reporting the work. So first, and this is again from our first trial in 2015, first they devised the project plan, and it was assessed by the teachers. So they got some tips from the teachers, so if the project plan is detailed enough, and if they are taking all the risk if they are taking all of these in the project plan and so on. And after that they have this bi-weekly process report. So they briefly describe what they have achieved, so what is the progress, and did you reach all the goals that the last report was set. And then another point was that they will do a quick plan of what they are going to achieve and work on until the next report. And then of course they reported their working hours. So every 2 weeks they had this kind of written report. A short wrap-up of the things that they have done during the last 2 weeks, and short plan for the next 2 weeks. And then during the semester they had 3 oral presentations, and that was all the reporting that they did. And like I said, all of the cases came from companies, so we had different companies, and this is sometimes a little bit difficult to find the right companies and select the right assignments from the companies, and who will contact the companies, and will they need to pay something, and how much time would they need to assign for this student group, and so on. So what we did in our first trial in 2015, we made a mistake that we did not start looking for the companies early enough. So we started that maybe 2 weeks before starting the actual project module, and that was too late. So if you are planning to do this kind of project module, start looking for the companies as early as possible, because it will make everything much easier. So we did have too little time for that. And most of the projects were done for the local companies, but there were a couple of projects that we did for our own university as well, so like internal projects. And we decided so that the companies don't have to pay for anything during the first trial, but we asked them to give some time for the students, so they didn't pay money, but they kind of paid in time. So they were tutoring the students and helping them and giving them information, so it was very important for the students, but they did not pay any money. Some companies even gave some working space for the students, so the students worked on the company premises, and it was very nice. And all the companies were contacted by the teachers, so it was me and my colleague who contacted the companies, and we did the work on that side. And of course, because this is teaching, we need to assess it somehow, and before we run the project module, we were thinking about different ways of assessing this, and how often do we assess the progress, and who is actually the right person to do the assessment, and is the assessment actually even necessary in this kind of trial. What we did in the first trial is that we did like a continuous assessment, so we were giving feedback for the students all the time. So it was not just at the end, but all the time we were giving them assessment and feedback. So the first place for assessment was the project plan that the students gave. That was the first thing. And then there are these two mid-semester presentations about the progress. These were assessed also. They had a final presentation and final report. And then what was important, we had the final discussion. So the teachers were discussing with each group, and the students were giving feedback for the other students, and the teachers were giving feedback to the students. And also we made it so that the two teachers did the feedback session together to avoid any bias. So there was one student group and two teachers, and we had a discussion together for the feedback and assessments. And then we had the final discussion with the company or other stakeholder. So they also gave their feedback for the students. But one thing that is important is that if you plan of doing this kind of project module, it is important to set the learning goals carefully before starting, because it is quite big thing to run this kind of module where there are many different courses together in one group. So the learning goals have to be planned quite carefully. And a couple of words about quality, because we were doing this project for companies, and of course they expect some results. So in the first case, we didn't run this perfectly. So we didn't have a systematic way of giving feedback or getting feedback from the companies, and we did not have any timeline to keep in touch with companies. So we did not have this kind of like bi-weekly phone meeting or something else that would have been quite good. Of course, we contacted the companies if there were some problems, but we still should have had more discussion with the companies all the time. And some students were working inside the companies, and this was very good because they were getting feedback from the companies all the time, so it was very good. And another thing that we should have improved is that we didn't give a clear timeline for the companies before starting. So they were a little bit confused of how long this is taking and what goals there are and so on. So we should have discussed that in more detail and specified a more detailed timeline and goals for the project. And one important thing, if the companies are paying you something, then it's important to allocate enough teacher resources to make sure that all the goals are set so that the companies will be happy. Students were quite happy with this, so generally the feedback was very positive. But there were anyway some students who felt a little bit lost as there was no traditional lecturing, so some not so active students felt that they don't know where they are going because they were supposed to work on their own and set their own goals, so they felt a little bit lost. But the good thing is that the students learned the teamworking skills and communication skills and this kind of soft skills that are required in the working environment. They learned these kind of skills very well. And another thing is that some students felt that there's a little bit too much written reports to do. So that was also something that we have improved since. So we have done some improvements. As I said, this last time was this pilot was 2 years ago, and we have done this many times since. So one thing that we have changed is the companies are much more involved. So we have these design review meetings every 2 weeks with companies, and the students are leading the meetings. That is very important nowadays. And also, it's not Finnish students anymore, but we have these exchange students also. So each student group has at least one exchange student, so the working language is in English nowadays. And the student groups are a little bit bigger also. And then we are also mixing classes, so we have these last year students who are working as project managers, and then we have some younger students who are working in their project teams. So this is also very good improvements. And then, because this is for engineering students, we have improved the use of different software. So like we are using product lifecycle management in this project module and so on. And the companies so far have been very happy with the results. So this has been improving quite much, and the companies and the students are very happy. Okay, but that was my short presentation, and I think we will soon hear more about the Indonesian side of this project module, how they have been running this and what are the experiences? Thank you.
Thank you, Sakari, for the presentation. Please stay with us. After the second presentation, we have question and answer. So now we go to the last presenter, Mr. Supriya from the Venice International University. So the forum is your. Mr. Supriya is the hold a master degree in computer science from the Georgia Institute of Technology in USA. He is the lecturer at the computer science program, Bina Nusantara University International, with teaching area of database system and human-computer interaction. He is also assigned as the public coordinator, research department, Bina Nusantara University. His projects interested are in the area of database development. Currently, he is assigned to develop database system for research development, research departments. In the OPED project, he is piloting the project model method. Okay, please. The forum is yours. Please share your PowerPoint presentation. Go to the share. Yes. Okay, very clear.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon. Today, we are happy to join all of you. We would like to share our project modules implemented at Venus University International. Okay, here's the outline. So we are going to talk about the pilot implementation. So the process of project modules. First, we conduct the participating companies, and then after we have several companies who agree with the project, then we open an info session to the students, and then the students apply for these project modules, and we prepare them with some training before they work in the company, and then placement, and here they go to the company full-time work on site, and they need to provide a progress report, and we have some evaluations during we are working at the company, and there are some coaching sessions. And finally, after completing this project, then they need to provide a final report. We also do some evaluations. Okay, actually last year, from October 16 to January, we have done a project module, the first piloted project module, based on one course, which is software engineering. So there were 3 students participated in the project module last year. So this is one semester. So only it's only cover one course, and they had to work at the company once a week, okay, because they need 6 months day. So it's okay. Now we continue our second pilot project module for 1 year internship program. So there are several courses in computer science we selected, okay. And the total is 18 semester credits units, and there are 8 participants, okay. And there are 3 companies, 3 participating companies, okay. So 2 students at ITINDO, 3 students at ICE House, and 3 students at Metro Data Company. So we have done this recently. So the difference between the previous ones, in the previous one we have only choose one course, and for the second piloted project module we have several courses. Okay, we need to share our learning outcomes with the companies so that they understand what's the expected outcome for the students. So here is the list of the learning outcomes. Okay, during the company, the students develop the project, okay, and they need to report some progress, okay, and also there are coaching sessions. Okay, evaluations. We have assessment rubrics, hard skills and soft skills. The site supervisors will do the assessment. Also the faculty supervisor or the lecturer, participating lecturer, also do the assessment based on these rubrics. Okay. The students should prepare daily activity records, weekly journal, consultation logbooks, monthly report, and final reports. There are some evaluations based on this project module. We have lecturer and student reflection, coaching logbooks provided by the participating lecturer, site observations, questionnaires, and interviews. So this is the evaluations. Okay, the result of the evaluations is the results. Okay, we have some kind of dimensions here. So basically, the benefits exceed the cost based on the company's points of view. But there are some other things we need to consider, that we capture the difference between theory and applications. The students are already familiar with commonly used software. Okay, these are expected by the companies. Okay. Collaborations. The schedule is now communicated. We should do this better in the next program. Okay. So this is the general comments by the companies. Maybe we can talk about this later on if we have time. Okay. This is some comments from the students. Okay. Tutors are very supportive. Difficulties in understanding the work frameworks or project requirements. Lack of knowledge to complete the task. And several tasks require skills have not been learned in class before. So that's some comments or feedback from the students. Now on my right, I have one of the participating students. So he is going to give us the testimony. Okay. So please, Pak.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Satria. My name is Billy. Currently, I'm working on Untitled, one of the project module in Venus. I have been in this program since February 2017, so it's been 9 months since then. In the companies, first of all, the companies need me to learn several skills. It's been for 3 months before I go to the real projects. In these 3 months, they give us a briefing about the skills that I need to use to solve the problems in their company. During that 3 months, I also go to the campus to do some consulting with the lecturer, and the lecturer give us a good feedback and give us a good understanding about the problems in the real world. After completing the 3 months, I need to do the real projects from the companies, and in that I also need to submit report to the campus, so the campus will know about the project that I have doing in the companies. So far I actually think that this project is very good because I can learn from the expert in the real world. So it and change my soft and hard skill to after my graduation. So I think it's very good. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Billy. Now we have a sharing session, okay, by participating one of our participating lecturer. Okay, on my website, Pak Bagus.
Okay, thank you. I'm one of the lecturer that become a supervisor for the student internship for project modules. So my experience when I supervise my students, actually I can see there's like several things that are gained by our students. So currently I'm supervising 3 students that work for Ice House company, so for software development. And then so far we are doing like a monthly meeting to track the progress and to see what happened about the what's going on in the company side. So based on my view, I mean, like in university side, I can like make a bit summarize about what students gain from this activity, from the project modules or the internship things. So basically, the student gain like working experience, especially they learn new culture in working with people, about the process, and then they also learn about the time management. They learn about the soft skill, how to communicate with the others. They also learn about the problem solving because doing like some kind of project, and of course also gain the technical skill. So I think this project module or the internship things is really work with the student compared to only learn in the class. But there are also some limitation, like for example, in my case, especially for some company, sometimes they close about the project, so for the discussion or the progress of the student, only limited in technical things, not the projects. Yeah, something like that. Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, I think that's all for us.
Okay. Okay, thank you, Mr. Supriya. Now we go to at the end for the question and answer. From the chat question and answer, we have only one question. Pak Supriya, how you reconciliate or report from each participant and mark it? Hello,
How
Mr.
to mark it?
Supriya, can you answer to the question?
Okay, say again. Sorry, there's problem with.
You can see from the chat of this, click on the chat. The question is how you reconciliate or report from each participant, I mean each students, and mark it.
Oh, okay. We developed rubrics. Okay. Let's go back to. Okay. Sorry, I don't have the assessment rubrics right here, but yes, we provide assessment rubrics. Okay, and this will grade based on these rubrics in both sides, hard skill and soft skills. And also faculty supervisor or lecturer, participating lecturer, also give the students marks or grades based on assessment rubrics. Unfortunately, I don't have the example of the rubrics, but based on the rubrics, we choose, let's say, 40% from site supervisors and 60% from the lecturers. So that's the general idea.
So who developed the assessment rubric?
Yes, we developed HOPES, head of programs.
Head of program.
Head of programs and the academic development. So we developed that rubrics. In academic development, we have learning development division. So these people and the HOPES try to develop the rubrics. Okay.
So develop the rubric by the head of the program and academic departments. Okay. Any question more? Participant can ask.
Or maybe Pak Bagus has can give more explanations about grading.
Mr. Supriya, one more question. The Ministry of Education and Culture have a program in the name Link and Match. What is the difference your what we say your project model with it?
The difference between project model and
Link and Match. Link and Match. Yes.
Okay. We know that the companies runs projects. Okay. So we need to choose the companies who
Mm.
are suitable with the outcome of each courses. So each course, we have several courses, right? And each course has outcomes. So we offer the companies, this is the outcomes of the courses. So as long as they agree, okay, the company said, okay, we developed, now we have a project, doing the projects, or we are going to doing the project, which is matched with the outcome of each courses.
Mm. So it is based on the company projects.
So,
Hello?
yeah,
It is based on the company project.
we try to match between the company's projects and the outcome of its courses.
Mm-hmm. So you
each course has outcomes.
okay. Because in the working in yes.
Okay, here's the outcomes of some of the outcomes of the courses. So we offer them that this is what the students are expected to have after learning, after taking these project modules.
Okay, thank you very much, Mr. Supriya and also Mr. Sakari, for your presentation and answer to the participants. Now we go to the end of our section today. Thank you for your presentation. For the question, the participant can come to the bit.ly/2ND webinar Indo-Pets. So please, to all participants, don't forget tomorrow we have on 14 November 2017 we have 3 innovation pedagogies. One is project theory, learning by teaching, learning by learns. To get the certificate, participant must be registered in the webinar.semolec.org and attached with 5 sessions. I think all participants understand the requirement from our Semolec, So for today, I would like to say thank you to all presenters and participants that have spared their time to presentate and listen to the presenter about sharing innovation pedagogy. For today, we come to the end. Thank you very much.